All right, everybody. I'm usually not in my upright position with my microphone on the arm where it's supposed to be. I'm kind of trying to match Shawn Kanungo's vibe here, sitting on the couch holding up a microphone. We'll see how it goes. Wearing a hat, right? Completely out of character for me. So, in this interview, we're going to interview Shawn Kanungo, which is you're a Canadian native, correct? You're from Canada.
Yes, I'm from Canada, born and raised in Canada. And before we get into my introduction, I just want to say this, Hector. It's an honor, it's a privilege, it's an honor, like just to be on this pod, just to be on your channel. You are the OG accounting creator, the alt accountant, the you are paving the way for this new brand, this new path for accountants. So I am just excited to be on this pod. And if you've gotten this far, rate, review, subscribe, whatever you got to do. Give this man some love because he's putting in the work. He's been putting in the work for years. And Hector, I'm just going to spend the next 10 minutes just gassing you up and, giving you love because
Love
you've
it.
been putting in the work.
Love it. I never had somebody promote my own stuff in my channel, but that's good. I love that. So let's backtrack for a second. So I'm a big fan of Shawn Kanungo. He's got a lot of videos in YouTube, a lot of videos in LinkedIn. Shawn is an ex-accountant or a recovering accountant. I believe audit. You were an audit, correct?
Yeah, I spent a couple of years in audit at Deloitte and then moved into management consulting after that.
Exactly. So we're a recovering accountant that became a management consultant that does tons of speaking. And you first came to my attention during the pandemic. And I'll let you fill in the gaps. I'm gonna tell you my
Okay,
perception.
okay.
So during the pandemic, I started a little podcast called Friday Night with Accountants with a couple of Canadians, which you were on that podcast as well. And I think you did something for Intuit for QuickBooks, and that's how kind of the connection came across. But then I started looking at your stuff, and you were doing videos in like an empty in an empty venue, like as if you
That
were
theater,
presenting
yeah.
to a empty theater, as if you were presenting to a bunch of people. But during the pandemic, you couldn't do such a thing. So I would love to understand like what happened there. But before we jump into that, Shawn's videos, he's got some long keynote type things, and he's got a lot of shorts that just make small poignant points. And Shawn is really good at what's called newsjacking, and we'll get into that because that's actually a fascinating approach to creating content. And when I contacted you was immediately after I saw a video, and I'll let you redo it. Let's recreate it here about Ozempic and the airlines, and it was almost like a stand up. It was almost like a stand up punchline, but I thought it was really cool. So could you tell people about Ozempic and the airlines and innovation and disruption as an introduction to like how you newsjack? And this is what reminded me I gotta have you on my channel. So could you
Wow.
recount that
Wow.
for
I
us?
have to remember that story too. Cause like whenever I'm doing a keynote, usually it's like for something like that is something I'm doing for the first time. But I think the punchline of that piece was the idea that like literally the hottest thing on the planet right now is generative AI. That's what everybody's talking about. In fact, it's at that peak of the Gartner hype cycle. But the only thing hotter than generative AI is Ozempic. And actually,
Which I'm on, by the
the
way. That's why it caught my attention. Like I'm on the
okay.
I'm on the treatment, and I've lost 20 pounds in the past 2 months. So like that really caught my attention. You newsjacked something that was relevant to me.
Yeah, so I said, whatever is hotter, than that, and then I basically said that, United Airlines. There was an analyst that said that United Airlines could save $80 million a year if everybody took Ozempic and lost 10 pounds. And I just made the joke that like basically United should be offering Ozempics just so that they can save $80 million a year. And I just made a joke that, listen, like, when you are on the United website, you can, you got to pay for the bag, you got to pay for the seat, you got to pay for your water, you got to pay for the snacks. But Ozempic, they're just gonna offer that for free. Give it to your mother, and yeah, it's just I love the reason why I love doing that, Hector, is I love being able to connect what's happening in the culture to my talks around innovation, AI, technology. To me, disruption is actually taking culture. It's taking what's happening in society. It's happening what's happening in entertainment and media, entertainment and beyond, and connecting that to what I'm talking about. And I love making it relevant, culturally relevant. That's really, really important to me. So I really, really appreciate you bringing up the idea of newsjacking. And that's the thing that I love to do the most is it's basically, it's a talk show. It's a talk show, like to be on stage, to say something that happened that morning, that, that moment yesterday, the evening before, and being able to integrate that within a live presentation. It's my favorite thing to do in the world.
Yeah, and I agree 100% because like 2023, I've been to like 4 conferences already, and everybody has an AI angle to something, and it's so boring. Honestly, it's so boring because everybody says the same thing. Everybody says in
Everybody
3 or
starts the
5 years.
presentation saying, everybody starts the presentation, Hector, by saying, let ChatGPT wrote my speech. Let's see what it said. And then
Yeah, I listen. I've been the culprit of that. I did a conference like last month. I think I did it a little bit better, and I'll walk you through it real quick what I did.
Okay.
So I had a conference last month. I had about 100 accountants in front of me, and my conference was a combination of 2 things. It was creative business models for accountants. So we're
Yep.
teaching people how to get, like, my whole ethos is the word creative has been hijacked from the accounting profession. We don't know who took it away. We don't know why we don't want to get it back. Everybody's a bunch of, a lot of taboo around, being called yourselves creative as an accountant, because the 2 things put together means, unethical, illegal, or whatever. So the problem is, by not being able to access that word as part of your lexicon, you can't have the intent to be creative. And creativity is the single most important precursor to innovation. Like, you have to think in abstracts, you have to think outside the box, all these things, that all these platitudes that we hear. But you have to be in the state of creativity, and you have to be playing around, experimenting before we innovate. And accountants don't innovate because we refuse to be called creative. And by not allowing the word creative to be part of a lexicon, we don't even practice creativity. We don't do that.
Right.
So the conference was about, okay, how can we extrude creativity out of everybody individually? And we had like brainstorming exercises. We had an incredible speaker. His name is Chris Do. He has a
Yep.
YouTube channel called The Future. You probably follow him, or you probably have seen him speak. He's become a friend, and he's an advocate of, like, hey, we got to bring creativity to the left brainers. So he came in, he blew everybody out of the water. But just long story short, the conference had a ChatGPT masterclass prior, and I had to do it because I've been talking about ChatGPT since January to all the accounting circles. So people, I've been promoting the conference in my ChatGPT classes. So tons of people came to the conference thinking that it was a ChatGPT conference. So I had to kind of like blend the 2 things together, which are so opposite. Like AI and creativity are so opposite, and at the same time they're so similar, right? But I started the conference, the ChatGPT conference, by getting on stage, using the conversational AI, put it next to my microphone, and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, I got to teach a class, and I'm unprepared. Can you help me put together a 3-hour class on ChatGPT for accountants and what it looks like for the future?" And you know what? It's getting kind of awkward here. People are just staring at me. Start with an accounting joke. And you know what? Make it contextual about an AI. And then the whole thing immediately came up with a joke. The joke was terrible, but everybody laughed, which is funny, which is a great thing about accountants, right? Like, we laugh at terrible jokes. I don't know why we do that, but just the whole thing was just funny, and it came up with a plan. And then I said, look, that joke wasn't funny. Can you make the joke a little bit more elaborate, and give me a storyline, and give me characters, and give me a plot, and give me a twist, and the whole thing on the spot? So it was just really interesting, a different way to start a ChatGPT class versus how many of you have a ChatGPT account? Like that's just so boring. So I didn't necessarily newsjack it, but I try to use a creative way, kind of like inspired by you, to use the different approach to captivate the audience and to keep the audience excited and just intrigued.
I love that. Such a great way. And it sounds like an amazing conference. And I know you throw an amazing event. And I need to understand how you got Chris Do down and how you guys became friends. I listened to the pod with you guys talking about left brain and right brain, and how you're sort of a right brain stuck in a left brain world, and he's a left brain stuck in a right, or
Yeah.
vice versa. Really, really cool. How did you get the future to come to the conference and become friends with him? I got to know that story.
Good question. So, well, first of all, and I think in your book, The Bold Ones, I think you lay out a lot of steps about like about how, become a fan or
Yep.
build fandom and build just being contrarian. Like there's so many things I want to talk. I have like fuller notes on your book that I want to get to, but let's talk
Oh
about
wow.
how we became friends. So essentially, first thing I started doing is commenting on the videos and commenting like the right things. Like so, there's a couple of videos that I liked. I commented on them. Some LinkedIn posts, I commented on them. So at least you start getting. I mean, that's like 1%, right? You get a little bit of visibility. Then I noticed that he's got a private group, most of it creative professionals. I joined the private group, and you pay for that. And I started listening to some of the talks, that were done by him, by the people in the group. And then I emailed them. I said, "Hey, I've been part of your group for the last 6 to 8 months, and I've noticed that you guys don't have any stuff on finance. There's all these people are entrepreneurs, they're creatives,
Yeah.
but like these people would benefit from understanding like how to write off stuff as a graphic designer, how to prepare for taxes as a graphic designer, how to manage your own books in QuickBooks as a graphic designer." And I said, "Hey, I got this YouTube channel. I'm well known in this industry. I would love to teach a class for free to your private group." And it was
Oh
obviously a couple of
wow.
emails back and forth. And he said, "Yeah, sure. Put together a proposal." So I proposed like top 10 IRS red flags relevant to like creative professionals, and I had to put together
Okay.
a custom class. He loved the idea. I went on. He didn't even watch it or listen live, but then he went back and looked at it, and he realized, wow, this is good content. So we started chatting, and then I told him, "Hey, I would love you to cross to my world, to the accounting world, to the left brain world." And he's okay, sure, like whatever you got in mind. So he was building simultaneously. He was building tons of followership through Clubhouse. And you remember Clubhouse?
Yeah, of course. I
Not rest in
remember
peace
it.
yet, but it's almost pretty much irrelevant
Circa
at this point.
2021. It was a great
Yeah.
time. It was a
Well,
great
during the
era,
pandemic,
Clubhouse era.
it was incredible. So he was building. He saw it was growing. He was building a huge followership in Clubhouse. I also jumped on the bandwagon. I was doing things with other accountants. Intuit, the maker of QuickBooks, reached out to me and said, "Hey, we're looking to do some social media collaboration with Clubhouse. Could you help us put something together?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you want to get a bigger crowd? This guy's already, like trending and having. So what if we hire him?" And then the budget that they had allocated for me was probably under what he would charge. And I said, "Look, I'll give up my pay, and let's just bring him in." So I brought him in, and
Wow.
I said, "Hey, Chris, here's a budget for this. You're going to run the Clubhouse. It's a bunch of accountants. It'll be you and me. You'll be asking me questions. I'll give you kind of like schema what we can talk about, and then we can take some questions from the crowd." And he's like, "Hey, that's right up my alley." The fee was sufficient for him to say, "Sure, I'll play around. I'll see where this takes me." So I went out there and I got him business first, right? So not so
Wow.
I got him business. I volunteered in his private group. I commented. So obviously, I exposed myself
You
enough.
created value.
I created
You
value, and then
created
my
value
brother,
every step of the way without
yeah,
asking for anything in return.
correct,
That's how you build a
100%.
relationship. That's
100%,
amazing.
100%. And then my brother, who was working in a bank at the time, I got him into like Chris Do, and I said, "Look, listen, watch his stuff. Like he should inspire you to become an entrepreneur. Quit that dumb bank job. Come work alongside of me. He's a sales expert. Start listening to his content." I bought them the book, and then my brother had the brilliant idea to follow a different idea, like it's kind of a copy of an idea that I had, which is he bought the book, and then in social media with zero followership, he started doing like one page review. Like he'll read a page and go, "Hey, I read this page from Chris Doe's book. This is my opinion on this page." And then enough so Chris Doe actually started tagging him, started watching his videos. And then after we started noticing that Chris Doe was tagging him, I emailed Chris Doe, "Hey, by the way, that's actually that's my blood brother." And he goes, "Holy crap, you guys are so interesting, two different people, two different perspectives." So then I told
Wow.
Carlos, "Hey, whenever he runs a physical event, go there. I know you have nothing to do with the industry. Go there, go meet him, pay for the event." He went there, he met them, so they met in person. Then I offer him to, if he ever comes down to Miami, I have office space. I'll give you office space if you want to do a meetup with your people. So he did that. He invited his people. I lend them my office space. So basically, it's like, we're using each other's resources. He had Clubhouse following. I had Intuit that wanted to get into Clubhouse. He had a group. I had the
Wow.
knowledge to help his group. My brother Carlos wanted to get into like understanding how to sell and learn from him. So like we made a huge effort to get visible. And then, we started chatting, we started talking, and it turns out that we're like very similar in the way we think. We have, different markets, different target markets. So then I told him about the conference, and he said, yeah, I love this idea. And he went to the conference and he fell in love with accountants. He realized that accountants are fun and are interesting and have the potential to be creative. You just have to extract it out of them.
You know what? This is the best relationship story ever. And I don't even care what we're going to be talking about after this. What you provided right now is a 101 on how to develop a relationship, especially with somebody with the clout and the impact that Christo has had for millions of people across the planet, and of course you have had as well. But incredible! I'm gonna go follow Carlos as well and see what he's been up to.
Yeah. Carlos actually, he's my partner in the conference. So like he's got his own business. He does
Cool.
sales consulting, focuses on accountants, helps them sell and that sort of thing. And then we put the conference together. And then next year the conference is doubling. I actually just came back from a beautiful property by the beach that I think might be the one. We're negotiating pricing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But next year we're gonna do not 100 but 200 people. So very exciting times. But I do want to get back to like your
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff. Like
Yeah.
let's talk about your stuff, Shawn. I want to promote your stuff too. So anyway, if you're still listening, you're still watching or listening. So definitely follow Shawn in LinkedIn and YouTube. And Shawn has you have multiple books, or it's just the bold ones,
I
just the
no, I
one
just have
book.
one book, The Bold Ones. Yep.
Okay. So I heard I know people say I read even when they do audiobook. I heard the bold ones. I didn't read it because
Perfect.
I make it a point that if the author reads the book, I do
Yes.
audiobook instead of physical book. So physical book when there's no audiobook read by the author, especially when I like the author, and I like you, and I like your voice, and I like the inflection. Because the nice thing about the audiobook read by the author is the author is actually passionate about the topic. So he's not
Oh,
reading; he's actually telling the story, that he already wrote. But you bring all the inflection, you
I,
bring all the excitement, which I love.
I'm so excited that you actually listened to the audiobook because I was actually more excited about the audiobook than the physical book because I'm an audio guy. I love audio. Obviously, as a speaker, obviously I bring a lot of passion, and I don't think that it comes out of the book. And so for you to read that, I had such a like I think when I recorded the audiobook with the recording studio, they actually booked it for 4 days. We smashed it in 2 days because I had so much fun reading the book. I had so much fun telling the stories again that it was like a record. They've never seen that before. And so if you have a chance to listen to the audiobook, I totally encourage you to do that. Like it was a lot of fun, and I really appreciate that you went off and listened to it.
Yeah, I 100% recommend the audiobook, the bold ones. And I heard you have a special. I haven't seen it yet, but you have a special on Netflix
Prime and Apple TV. Yeah.
a Prime and Apple TV. And is a special like you talking about similar stories as the book, but like on a main stage? Like
Uh, yeah, I
what
would
do we
say it's kind
expect
of
for
like it's a comedy special without the comedy.
that?
It's that's what I would say. I mean, there's a little bit of comedy, but it's really taking these ideas. It's a fun sort of 35-minute TV special where I'm talking about some of the concepts of the book and getting folks inspired. It's a great thing to watch with some family members and whatnot. So to me, it's like it was a foray into this media entertainment world, and I believe that what we do, and I consider you as a thought leader and a disruptor in this field, in this professional field. How can we like elevate what we are doing so that we can inspire more professionals to go off and disrupt themselves? And that was my attempt at doing that. So yeah, you can check it out on Apple TV.
Yeah. What I think about could be interesting is because like it's hard. Like I recommend my team members to like go read a book or listen to a book, and it's like a really big task. It's a
Yeah.
very really big ask to do that. But I could totally squeeze in one of my team meetings a 40-minute watching session. So I wonder if the $10 or $15 license to buy the book includes 10 people watching it. Well, you say you can have family members, so I guess I can have team members watching it too, right?
Hey,
But
whatever
I
you
got
need to do, steal it, copy it, rip it. I'll provide some, yeah, whatever you need to do. So,
yeah, no, awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna do that. So I promise you, my entire team is gonna watch that in the next team meeting. So I
so can I
wanna
just
go ahead,
before
go
you
ahead.
get into that? I know we're going off tangent, but I
Yeah,
think the book, the bold one, the audiobook, the special, it is actually you're a great representation of this because you are taking this profession of accounting and actually turning it on its head. You being able to create your own brand, you able to create your own lane, creating content, creating brand equity, building relationships with other folks that are outside of accounting. I think you are a great representation of the bold one because you're doing something differently and you're creating value in new ways. So I just think that we need more people like you, in the world. And the reason why I wrote this book is so that we can create more Hectors. So that's what I'd say to that. So I just want to give you a plug because I think you're a really great representation of a bold one.
I appreciate that. And just to kind of like finish promoting the book, this is not a theoretical framework on how to be bold. This is basically all the examples of people that swam against the current and won. And of course, you're cherry picking all the winning stories. Not everybody that swims against the current wins. Like, sometimes it doesn't work out. But the point is that if you do what everybody else is doing and you're just one of many, you're never going to stand out. You're never going to break through. You're never going to build something incredibly disruptive. And disruption is kind of this buzzword that gets used, and I think you do a good job in the book to say, hey, hey, disruption is just a buzzword. Essentially, what it means is standing out by doing something different, something bold, something gutsy. Like take a risk. Obviously, taking a risk is it's part of this whole thing. So I like to walk through or like kind of pick your brain about some of the concepts from the book. So the first one is that you make a bigger deal about personal branding, like the people are the bold ones, not the companies. So could you give us what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah. Actually, that is the thesis as to why I wrote the book, because I believe
Okay.
that we are moving into a world where individuals are more powerful than institutions. The power shift is moving to the individual. You see every single trend that from cloud to artificial intelligence to the creator economy, the ability for us to put our ideas out in the world. Everything is moving to the individual, meaning an individual can do way more than way less than ever before. There are countless examples of people building $1 million businesses, being a one person solo business. This trend is going to get to a point where you're going to have one person, $1 billion businesses. You can talk about, there are examples of people sort of making a dent
Mr.
and
Beast is a
getting
good
towards that.
example. Would
Mr.
you say that?
Beast, like the
Yeah.
Kardashians, LeBron, like they're obviously they have a team around them, but it's the impact of a one person with a very small team, very small resources. And I actually felt that at Deloitte. When I was at Deloitte, I actually felt the power shift from institutions to individuals as I started to build more content, build a brand when it comes to innovation, whether it's write articles, whether it's getting on stage, whether it's creating video content. I saw this power shift to me, more clients coming to me, teams coming to me. I became this magnetic pull because of this power that I was developing as an individual. And my thesis was that, if I left the firm, could I get more clients? Could I connect with better executives? Could I connect with way better clients? And 5 years later, like that thesis was absolutely correct. And I just feel like that shift is happening more and more. And personal branding is is a huge part of it. Technology is also a huge part of it, leveraging the resources around you. And I think that this is the future, like this idea of leverage. And I know you've talked about this before, but in previous pods, but this idea that we have so much points of leverage now, we can do way more with way less because of all these tools and technologies and platforms around us.
Right. And the scattered, what do you call it? Scattered media, or what? There's something, a special word that you use, that the
Distributed media,
media,
yeah.
not just distributed media, just like, we have mainstream media, we have niche media, we have
Yep.
social. There was a special.
Fractured media.
I think I didn't have the word. What was the word?
Fractured media.
Fractured media. So tell us a little bit about that, because that's extremely relevant in today's world. Because a lot of people, especially like other accountants, that come to me and go, Hector, why would I even start a YouTube channel where I can't compete with yours? Or even think about like Chris Do, he's got 2 million followers. Why would anybody that he's trying to inspire would
Yeah.
even like so I think that a lot of people get stuck with this concept that I can't compete against the big ones. So
Yeah.
what are your
Well,
thoughts about
definitely you can't
fracture
compete
media?
against Hector. That's for sure. Don't even start. No, 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 no. I think the world has become, fundamentally fractured into niches. I believe that, there's this thesis that Kevin Kelly once had, which is, and I read it in the book about, 1,000 true fans. The idea that you can actually build a large business with just having 1,000 true fans. And I think actually that thesis is coming to a reality today that, with a very small following, with a very small number of subscribers, users, customers, clients, that you can build a very big business. And you don't have to be, you could be the QuickBooks accountant, you could be the accountant for hospitality industry, you could be the accountant for sports teams, you could be the accountant for high net worth, athletes, whatever it might be. Find your particular niche and build content, build ideas, build your brand, connect with people in your particular space. And I think the mainstream media is dead. Like being a uh, you know, there are no more, there's no 3 channels anymore. There's a million channels. And the beautiful part today is that now you can connect with people around the world that actually fall within your particular niche, just by putting out your particular IP. And so the mainstream is dead and everything is fractured. And I think that's a great opportunity for everybody around the world to find people that can, find you, and you can build, people can have affinity towards what you are building just by niching down. And I think that's the future.
Yeah, I love the example. I think you called it the paradox of piracy or something like that. The example about like how pirates back in the day, uh, pirates are anti-institution. Like pirates
Yeah.
are the ultimate anarchists. But the way the pirates banded together and created a strong brand is by doing the exact opposite of anarchy, is by creating a code of conduct, creating a set of rules. Can you tell us about that? I think that was fascinating.
Oh, one of my favorite parts of the book, and I'm not gonna like dive into the entire story, but it's this idea. I love pirates because pirates to me are like the original disruptors. They are groups of individuals coming together like in the middle of the ocean, trying to build their own economy against bureaucracies, against hierarchies, and that's exactly it. Groups of pirates coming together and disrupting the world by actually um taking, whether it's banding together, creating a
The,
code of
the
conduct.
pirate code, right? The pirate code.
Yeah, exactly, creating a code of conduct, being actually systematized, but still being bold, still being disruptors, coming into a industry. This is the disruptors are pirates at the end of the day.
Right.
Disruptors are people that come from the edges, they come from the ocean, they come from the sea, and they go into a particular industry and they change the game. That's what
Right.
disruptors do. That's what pirates do. They jump on board to another ship, and they steal their market share, they steal their resources, they steal their goods. That's what pirates do at the end of the day.
Right.
So
Right.
if you look throughout history, and if you look at uh what pirates do, you'll find similarities in terms of disruptors and pirates. So that's why I love,
Right.
when I research the book. And in the book, you'll see. I don't want to promote the book too much, but one of the best pirates in the world, what she did was she became a flower girl. She was like basically, a hooker, and she became one of the most powerful pirates that we've ever seen. You can read in the book. I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. I love that. Now I'll shift gears to the whole concept of efficiency and effectiveness. And you talk about the 3% rule, and you talked about
Yep.
be wasteful. Like you say, be like you're commanding me to be wasteful. Hey, I'm an accountant. Like being told to be inefficient, to be wasteful is blasphemy. So tell me maybe something that an accountant would hear where being wasteful is a good thing.
Absolutely. Uh, the idea of being wasteful is not to um it's not to, you know, lavishly spend money or to litter, or it's not about sustainability. The idea of being wasteful is actually to put in extraordinary effort. It's actually to explore. It's to experiment more. It's so I look at wasteful in two different ways. So number one, uh, accountants live in this world where we want everything to be frictionless. We want things to be on demand, 24/7, and part of the business is turning into that seamless. That's how we were trained. How do we make
Efficient,
the
automated, yeah,
linear,
all that stuff.
right?
Yeah.
And I actually think that where you get disproportionate value as an accountant, as a firm, as a leader, is by making things more meaningful, more magical, more awe-inspiring for our clients and our stakeholders at the end of the day. By putting in extraordinary effort, by creating extraordinary value, that's where people will uh, uh, that's where our clients will perceive more value from us. So we think that we're getting value by making things more efficient for our customers, but actually that's actually turning us into a commodity. Really what we need to do is understand their business more, is to create more insights, to create more nuanced recommendations, to personalize, to create more efforts, to have a better office, to look at them face to face, to spend 3 hours with them, not to just talk about their business, but to talk about their family. To me, that's actually being wasteful, and that's where you're going to get more value. Another way I look at waste is actually thinking about your career. So we always think of our careers as accountants as this like linear approach, right? I do this, I get my CPA, I start my firm, I get these particular clients. But if you actually look throughout history, through the most innovative and most prolific folks on the planet, what they've actually done is the reason why they became so innovative and prolific is that they actually started the career wasting their time, exploring different domains, exploring different fields, experimenting. You look at Vincent van Gogh, most of his best work came at the end of his life, but uh, but it, that wouldn't have happened if he didn't spend years experimenting with colors, with abstract paintings, and just exploring different ways of doing his art. You look at a guy like Judd Apatow, a great film director. The reason why he had the greatest comedy run in the 2000s is because years before that, he spent time doing stand-up comedy, writing a show, Freaks and Geeks, exploring these worlds, different realms of comedy, and then he put it all together to have one of the most prolific runs in comedy history in terms of movies. Super Bad, 40-Year-Old Virgin, Wedding Singers, the list goes on. And so if you want to have your most prolific, your most innovative work, you have to waste time. And that is blasphemous for accountants. So my suggestion is explore more, experiment more, put in more effort, make things more meaningful, play more. Absolutely. Put a Yankees hat on when you're supposed to be, a linear accountant. That's what you got to do.
Yeah, actually, the Yankees. That's it. I said this is
Yeah.
how as much play as you'll have me do.
Yeah.
So, so the thing is that being efficient is to do what is predictable. Being efficient is to do what you know it works. Being efficient is to press the same buttons you're 99% certain that will get you the same output. That's being efficient, and that's what accountants most of the time try to do. Being innovative, which is at the opposite side of the spectrum, is to do something that has never proven to work, right? But unfortunately, we don't stumble upon innovation on our first try. Innovation usually is a whole bunch of trial and errors, a whole bunch of breaking it until we see what works. It's a bunch of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks. So we almost have to like carve out time out of our calendar to experiment, to play, and like you said, to be wasteful. That's the context that I wanted to bring it into. And I have two choices. Today I had two choices. One, I could call one of my clients and do tax planning and charge $700, right? Or whatever it is to do some tax planning for next year. Or I could spend an hour talking to Shawn and
Wow.
build nothing. And this is the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that every single decision you make as a professional could be something that gets you closer to earning or get you closer to something that works, or it could get you closer to something bigger that you don't even know what it is because you're allotting time to play. And the YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, it's an important testament of that, which is the
Yep.
reason why you say I'm a bold one XYZ is because I've for the last 9 years I have carved at least 20% of my productive time to playing around with content, either showing
Yep.
somebody something new that I learned or talking to somebody new that otherwise I wouldn't talk if it wouldn't make it a platform to converse, have fun, and also promote each other's professional work that we're going through, et cetera, et cetera. The point is that you do this enough times wastefully and stuff will come around and some greater, bigger things
And
will
I want to
happen.
ask you
Like
actually.
having Chris Doe on my conference that happened because I
Yeah.
played around a lot. And now I'm super proud of running a conference that's significantly different than every other conference because I had a speaker that nobody was expecting. He came out of left field, talking to accountants about branding. It came out of completely left field and people were blown away.
I want to ask you how because I think you're an amazing blueprint of somebody that is creating their, I mean, you talk about being the alt accountant and you absolutely are the alt accountant. Um tell me how much content and personal branding and creating your own IP has contributed to building your successful firm? Like, what percentage would you, other than being hardworking and smart and brilliant and all the other things that you are, how much has that played into customers and clients coming to
Right,
you?
right. So like in numbers, like let's make some numerical
Yeah.
justification for the waste. Okay, so before I started a YouTube channel, I used to spend maybe $3,000 a month in Google Ads. Okay, so this is pushing to
Okay.
landing pages for QuickBooks training, pushing to landing pages for tax returns. During tax season, it was less efficient. Like you had to pay a lot more per click to get a new tax client. So we actually focused on just offering QuickBooks training, and then through the QuickBooks training, that was the Trojan horse to get the bookkeeping or get the accounting, because people after they get trained by really really competent people, not just myself or somebody else on my team, they know and know the software in and out, and they're passionate about helping somebody use the software for their own gains. Like we're helping people how to do accounting work, and we're
Mm-hmm.
basically shooting ourselves in the foot out of accounting work because we're teaching and empowering people how to do their own accounting. But once they go through that experience and they go, holy crap, no accountant I've ever spoken to has ever taught me so much, and taught me how to do what they do and all the inside baseball stuff, like, so because accountants are very guarded, they keep aces up their sleeve. They think that their know-how is actually their competitive edge, but it really isn't. Our competitive edge really is bringing people into the fold, getting people excited about accounting like we are, and empowering people to understand and know what they're doing. So
Yeah.
accountants have traditionally done the opposite. They wanted to be the sort of gatekeepers of like accounting accuracy because they wanted to always dismiss the fact that small business owners could have their own accounting team or could do their own accounting. So, but whenever you show somebody the total opposite of that, they go, "Holy crap! No accountant has ever done this for me." By the way, do you do taxes? By the way, do you do accounting work?
Mm.
So we didn't have to do any selling. We said, sure, I don't want to take work away from your accountant. Do you absolutely need to switch accountants? They're like, I think I do. I've never had somebody give me this level of service before. So our QuickBooks training and our internal bookkeeping training for small business owners and their teams was the Trojan horse to get the accounting work. And it happened by accident. We thought that QuickBooks training could be a business model unto itself, and it kind of is. But that has brought us tons of customers. Now I'm going to fast forward to now. I would say halfway through. I will fast forward to maybe 5 years ago. Um, Pay nothing on Google Ads. 100% of my clients come from watching a YouTube video. So
Love
it's
that.
it's gotten to the point
Wow.
where teaching people how to do what we do and exposing the entire thing, like I do my best to try to make sure that we don't have internal know-how, like
Yep.
my goal in life is that anything that you would call internal know-how, it's part of my YouTube library. Because then people go, wow, I mean, if I can, if this person's willing to give away this much, what would
Yeah.
it feel like to actually get this stuff personalized? Because I don't know if you follow somebody by the name of Blair Enns, which is actually one of Chris Do's heroes. He wrote a book called Win Without Pitching, and he says, I'll give away my knowledge, but you have to pay a buttload for the application.
Mm.
And that's kind of like the same philosophy I have. Like, I'll give away all the knowledge, but the minute you want me to sit down in front of you and answer, how does this apply to me, I'm going to charge an astronomical amount to do that. And if people go, I can't pay that, well, okay, keep watching YouTube video, and when you can pay it, our doors open, right? And
Yeah.
then and you just have to be super chill and nonchalant about that, and you wait and you wait and you wait and you build it, and they will come, and
I,
they
I,
they come
I
all the time.
I'm such a proponent of that, in terms of giving away knowledge and that idea. That's why, I'm so open to sharing my videos and, coming on podcasts and, sharing my knowledge. That's why I created this thing called Kungo GPT. It's a customized version of Chat GPT where I've trained it on my book, The Bold Ones, trained it on hundreds of different videos, all my podcasts. I literally threw in all my notes to all my keynotes. Like, literally my entire database is in there, and it's trained on it. It's an innovation co-pilot. It's accessible to ChatGPT Plus subscribers, and it's all my knowledge. You do not have to come to me for the answers anymore. You do not have to come for me. But to me, you can just go to Kanungo GPT, and all your answers will be there. But if you want to have my energy, if you want me to really apply it to your business, then you have to
And to
hire
come
me.
in and speak, right? You want me to come in
Speak
and
or
speak? You're going to pay a boatload of money. You want just the knowledge? You get it for free. Pretty much,
absolutely,
right?
yeah, exactly. So I think the same thing. That and the reason why I created that is that I've already been doing that with my videos. Like, it's crazy because a lot of people, whether they're accountants, they're lawyers, they're speakers, they're like, well, if you put out your content, if you put out your knowledge, if you put it all there for free, then people are just going to just exploit that. They're going to use that, and they're not going to pay you for anything. That actually the opposite.
It's the
More people
opposite,
are going to come
absolutely.
to you because you know what
Yeah,
you're doing at the end of the day is you're building affinity, you're building trust at the end of the day, and
correct.
that is the reason why people are coming to you. That's the reason why people want to work with you, is because you're creating trust through knowledge. And I don't think people get that.
No, yeah, and I learned from one of my heroes, one of my mentors, Ron Baker, and I picked his brain about, hey, why do you give it all away for free? I mean, I kind of knew the answer, but I wanted to hear his take. Why do you give it all away for free? And he says, because if I give it all away for free, I'm forced to learn new stuff. Right?
Mm,
And that is such a key sort of behavioral aspect of this, because a lot of people learn a bunch of stuff, they realize that they're smartest one in the group or whatever, and they're like, I can cruise, and I don't have to learn new things. And some of us are perpetual learners. Like, I'm a continuous learner. Like, the a lot of stuff excites me. Like, watching my kids succeed,
yeah.
playing baseball excites me. Watching a big paycheck for some project excites me. Watching myself lose weight excites me. But nothing excites me more than realizing I didn't know something huge and fundamental, and I thought something else, and my mind has been changed by some new piece of knowledge and wisdom. There's nothing more exhilarating than that. And as a trainer, as a teacher, if you get to the point where you feel that and you experience that, and when you go and teach, you're like, my goal is to give that hit of dopamine that I get when
Mm,
I learn something new to everybody that learns from me. And and watching somebody's face go,
yeah. Yeah.
like that is such a rush. As a trainer, as a teacher, such a rush. So, like, you have to learn, like, to be a just to be a good uh not say teacher, but to be a good sharer of knowledge. You have to learn to enjoy the process of doing that, and what it feels like to see somebody else just be truly deeply grateful about some new piece of information. And then once you get into that cycle, you can't get out of it. And then basically it becomes part of your brand, part of your psyche, to to be out there just watching and learning things so you can share them. And it happens to me all the time, where I'm just reading an article or watching a video, and I'm immediately thinking of like this 5 people that I admire and love, Ron, Chris, my brother, my dad, and I immediately, when I look at new content and new information, I look at it from 2 eyes. One, what am I learning? And two, who am I gonna share this with, so I
Wow.
can have a shared experience or learning something new and somebody to talk about it. Because when you talk through some new learning experience with somebody that you love and trust, it gets accentuated, and then both of you go down the rabbit hole, and both of you start sharing each other, like sort of like you open Narnia's closet and you're like, hey, I discovered something new. I discovered something new. And that's something that happened to me when I started going into Chris Doe's content. It's like I started watching and watching, and my brother and I just kept, sharing with each other like little clips and stuff. It's like, this is awesome. This is awesome. How would you apply this to accounting? How would you apply this to sales? So that is such a great part of the learning and teaching process. And these two things go hand in hand. So like if you're watching this or listening to this and you're an accounting professional or you're a small business owner, you are a wealth of knowledge, my friend. You
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of stuff. You have tacit knowledge. You have small business managing knowledge. You have accounting knowledge. And there's tons of people out there that are in a different industry, or they're in the same industry and they're green. And you start sharing it, you start teaching, you start mentoring others, and you create this thing called the halo effect, which you talked about in your book. And then once you got the halo effect, you can do no wrong, man. The community follows you everywhere.
Yeah.
The halo effect that I had, or that I have still, is what helped me launch my software company. So you talked about 1,000 fans. I launched a software company a year ago called Right Tool. It's been but about a year and 2 months, and we actually just hit 1,000 paying customers. And these people are
Wow.
they're raving fans. They're not just paying customers. They're paying customers that when something's broken, they'll email us and give us such detailed and kind feedback saying, hey, this didn't work. And let me tell you why it frustrated me. And these are the things that I would make change and make different. And our immediate response is to fix it, to talk to them, to provide an answer, to understand why it matters. And it's helped us, build a software that had 8 features at launch to now having 108 features, and all crowdsourced, all with feedback. So like having the halo effect will have people follow you to the grave. They'll follow you to the cliff, and then also people want you to succeed. People are gonna pay for your half broken product, but as long as you are responding to their feedback and as long as you're making the product better, people are gonna continuously push and push and push. So that halo effect has literally come into play with a new startup I had over a year
Love
ago. So
that.
that's
Love
from
that.
your book, and I think, and that's why your book resonated so much with me, because I found so many connections between what you were saying, and the pirates and the bold ones and the halo effect. Like, I'm like, man, it's a lot of your book. It's the playbook I have without knowing that it was a playbook. So
Yep.
so it's really awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Um,
Can we go back
I
to
go ahead.
the Kanungo bot for a second? So
Yeah. Yeah.
can you
Yeah.
walk us through how you built that, how it works, how can other people do that, and like what do you think is going to be the long term value from that?
Yeah. And this kind of leads us to the generative AI conversation, or AI within accounting conversation. So OpenAI did something really interesting, which is they opened up their app store. Basically, they opened up this ability for anybody to create GPT agents, right? Your own customized agent, which is based on proprietary data. And I think in this world of LLMs, at some point, actually the most valuable GPTs will be the ones that will be very proprietary, right?
The
Based on
ones that are
very
contextual.
contextual, based
Yeah.
on unique data. And so anybody can do this, which is go on GPT. You have to have a pro version. You can start training your own custom GPT. You start talking to, like, there's no code involved. You basically ingest it with um, you know, your whatever information that you want to ingest it in. So I started to ingest the GPT. I do this often as I have new ideas to feed it into this GPT. It's already doing all the work, and then you can test it out and you can create things very quickly. So I wanted to be. I'm
You mind if
always
we
like
use a
this.
little bit more? Sorry, you might use a little bit more tangible terms, training, ingesting. So essentially, what you're saying is, if you have a Word file with
Yeah. Yep.
information,
Sorry.
if you have
Yeah.
a if you have a PDF file with a set of procedures, if you have a video or a podcast that you can transcribe, if you have anything that's been written down, whether it came from voice, video, or a document that you created, you upload it into this custom GPT,
Yep.
and then LLM, which you mentioned, is a large language model. ChatGPT's use of English language and understanding what the person is asking through the chat, it's mixed in with the text that you uploaded, which in your case happened to be some transcriptions of some videos. It happened to be your book, and it happens to be what you're saying. I'll type some deep thought into a Word file or something and upload the PDF, or just tell the chat, hey, here's some additional context. So I just, again, I'm not trying
That's
to, like,
exact. That's beautiful.
simplify it, but the thing is that
Yep.
sometimes these terms are a little bit, so not everybody is used to,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
You're right.
training your butt sounds like a very complicated thing. Training your butt means upload a file that adds
Yes.
context. That's all it is.
That's right. That's right. Just upload a text file into it's just like uploading a file into the cloud. Basically, that's all you're doing. Is you're providing all that data. You can also give any numbers that you want, and we can get into the privacy and security and all that kind of stuff later. But I just believe that every firm is going to have their own GPT. Every organization, I mean, every thought leader is going to have their own GPT. And I wanted to be first to the gate to say, what does this mean when I give all my knowledge away, and you can ask the innovation co-pilot for help on your ideas or your 2024 planning or whatever it might be. And I've been probably one of the biggest content creators when it comes to generative AI, and over the last year, like starting in this time last year in December, infusing it within my content. Like literally the weekend that ChatGPT dropped, the next day I'm on stage in front of 1,000 people. I'm like, this is going to change everything,
Everything.
and showcasing examples of it then. And we're like a year anniversary of ChatGPT, and since then, I mean, it's been exponential. And it's not just ChatGPT. There are other large language models out there, and now people are applying it to everything: video, text, audio, translation. It's just it's insane. And I think 2024 is really the going to be the year where everyone starts using it and as a co-pilot. And I believe as accountants, like, unfortunately, God bless whoever's been listening this far, if you are not using generative AI in your business in 2024, you're going to be irrelevant.
Totally.
This is the future. We need to figure it out as accountants, and we need to figure out it quickly. Otherwise, we will be irrelevant. We need to. This is going to change our business model. Listen, when AI is running 24/7, what does it mean to pay fee for service? Right, 99% of firms are fee for service. I know you pivoted to subscription, and obviously there's a lot of heartaches around doing that because your customers are not trained for that. They don't understand it. But when the AI is working 24/7, when it's providing insights and real-time data 24/7, that destroys your business model. So as accountants, we need to figure this out. This is the future. You either you are on this path or you will become irrelevant. That's it.
Right. If you're charging by the hour, how in the world do you price in the fact that you spend 9 months learning how to use ChatGPT? Then your client asks you a question. Then, because of 9 months of understanding prompting and refiring prompts, you take the client question, you take the context of your knowledge, you throw it into ChatGPT, and you write a tax memo in 5 minutes, and you email your client a tax memo back that used to take 2 hours to do, and you used to charge 2 hours for. How in the world do you now charge for 5 minutes of your time, because it only took you 5 minutes to do something in combined with AI? And I know a lot of accountants, they go, well, Hector, AI gets it wrong. AI hallucinates. I get that. And that's gonna get solved. Like, right now, even if ChatGPT is not the primary tool that's solving the problem, you have to be playing with it. You have to be wasteful for the next year or so, playing with ChatGPT,
Yep.
understanding how it works. Look, just playing with ChatGPT has taught me how to get more precise on asking a question for
Mm-hmm.
life, like prompting, like the art of prompting and being very precise with the prompts, choosing what words to include, what words to exclude, choosing where to put commas, where to put hyphens, where to put quotes. Okay, all that stuff affects the final answer you get when you work with generative AI. So the life lesson to that is, when you talk to someone, when you communicate to someone, when you want to influence someone or get somebody to do what you want them to do, the word choice, the order of the words, the pauses, the inflection points on the same words could give you a totally different outcome. And learning how to prompt is going to be one of the most valuable, not just work, but
I actually
life
disagree with you on
skills.
this. I disagree with you. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be easier than that. I think,
Okay.
with the
I thought we have 5 minutes left and we're going to end
Oh,
up with a
okay. Yeah, no,
disagreement.
I disagree with you. I don't think prompt engineering is going to be a. I think it's going to be a base skill. I do agree that it's going to be a base skill that everybody has to learn. But I think the AI will start to understand reasoning, and like for example, ChatGPT included their voice. You can use voice to ask it a question, just kind of like what we
Yeah.
do with Siri. And I think it's going to be just as easy as describing your entire problem through your own, just describing it through voice and putting that question into ChatGPT or some other LLM, and it will start to understand how you think. It will start to understand how, what you really are getting to, and then you can talk to it and become more, precise along the way. And in fact, the AI is getting so smart that it's actually coming up with the prompts for us. I don't think. I
Yeah, it's
don't
true.
think.
Okay.
I just think that it's not about the prompt. It's not about the knowledge. It's now about decision making. To me, innovation is about creating the future. All this is optimizing the past. It's using past data. No LLM is going to tell you you need to move your business to a subscription business, because it's all based on the past. It's not going to tell you that. You have to have the courage to go off and say, I'm going to change my business into a subscription based business. What is this going to do? Because this is all based on the past. Generative AI is amazing, but it's all based on the past. You are the future at the end of the day. So you need to continue. This is not going to give you courage. That's on you. Risk taking, courage,
Okay.
building a relationship, looking at somebody in the eye, creating soul, creating meaningful moments. That's all on you. That's what we need to double down as accountants. But this needs to be the base layer, right? You need to be using the generative AI tool, because it's going to help us be optimized. It's going to give us ideas. It's going to remove all the things that we don't want to do as accountants. So yeah.
Yeah. So what I meant to start, we'll end with the note. I think we'll agree with this. What I meant by this, I didn't mean prompt engineering from an AI perspective solely. I just mean refining your choice of words
Mm.
to get more effective. Getting the right answer from the AI is going to help you be more effective at the human to human communication. That's what I
Oh,
meant by
okay.
that.
Okay.
We're just going through the iteration of understanding how to be better in prompt engineering, which you're right. In 3 or 5 years, you can say any load of junk, and because it understands your patterns and what you said before, you'll understand what you were trying to say, which is actually an entirely different, interesting conversation. Is like, can AI read between the lines the way humans can? And maybe we'll discuss that on a second episode where we'll have you back and discuss that. But that's really what I meant. What I meant is that you're being bold, having courage, looking at somebody in the eye, connecting with people spiritually, building trust, shaking hands, and telling people, "I have this crazy idea. Trust me.
Yeah.
Grab my hand. Let's run with it." That's obviously that's the future. Absolutely, 100% with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you and Ron had an amazing discussion on AI and the impact of the business models, and I encourage folks to go back and listen to that episodes, because this is the future. We need to see what's the impact going to be with our clients, our business models, how we work. And I think this is going to be an amazing thing for accountants. It's going to start to change the profession. I believe that accounting could be the sexiest job in the world because it's not about the numbers. It's about the relationship. It's about decision making. It's about making this job more strategic. I mean, we've been complaining about how to get more accountants into this profession. I mean, this is it. And I'm excited about this, but it requires us as accountants to figure it out and to play. That's it.
I'm excited too. Shawn, thank you so much. I'm gonna put links to all your stuff down below in the description, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you so much. I want to say, by the way, rate, review, subscribe to this pod. Hector's putting in the work. It was a pleasure, honored to be on. Thank you so much.